short way to quickly graph any quadratic that I throw your way, okay? Because that's what we're going to do today. We're going to sketch by hand, okay? Sketching this is on page 31, okay? So make sure you follow along. So sketching quadratics. Enter equation into y1. Okay? So you can definitely shorten this later on. Enter equation into y1. That would be my first step. Second step, I would do zoom standard. So I'm just going to make sure I get the spelling correctly here. Z standard, yeah. To reset window. Okay, so just to give you a quick, this would be -10, this would be +10, and it goes down to -10 on the y's and +10 at the top. So that's what a zoom standard does. The third one would be press zoom fit. To see graph. Number 4, adjust window to see what are the things that we need to see for sure. First one stands for the V, vertex. And intercepts. I'll just say this, and intercepts. And when I just say intercepts, I mean collectively all intercepts. So x-intercept and y-intercept.
Excuse the interruption. Would it be good to pick up for lunch at the front doors, please? Would it be good to the front doors? Thank you.
So basically the window, if you press the window button, I just want you to ever change x min, x max, y min, y max. I don't want you to change any of the other ones. The scale, anything like that, do not worry about that. It doesn't hinder what we're trying to do. And again, this is your window. This would be x min. This would be x max. This would be y min. This would be y max. So if you increase the y max, you're going to see more towards the top, page 31. If you decrease y min, right, you're going to see more towards the bottom of the screen. Okay. So that's one thing that I will tell you this, guys. The numbers get pretty crazy after a while. Thousands, millions, right? So I'm going to give you big numbers. So zoom fit does a pretty good job at least letting you see some of the graph. Sometimes it does, I'm just going to tell you, sometimes it does a terrible job. Okay? Sometimes zoom fit doesn't do a good job at all. So you're going to have to navigate that, and I'm going to call this, you basically chase the curve. That is a term that I use. Like you're basically going to chase it. Basically, like, oh, wait a minute, I see a little bit something here, but let's see where it's going. And let's see where it's coming from, right? So chase the curve. And what's going to dictate this is you got to know, right? If A is negative, you're expecting it to point down, right? So you're expecting something like this. At some point, right? If A is positive, then you're expecting something to be pointing up, okay? And then number 5, determine, I'm just going to say this, vertex. How do you find the vertex? You press second, trace, and here it gets tricky. If you press, you would press max if it's pointing down. If A is positive. Sorry. That's wrong, right? A is negative. You would press min if A is positive. I'm going to use a red or something different to just make sure you understand the vertex is this, right? You want the coordinates of the red dot. And coordinates means it has an x component and a y component. Okay? Next, you want to find the x-intercept if they're there. How do we go about that? Anybody remember how to find the x-intercepts? y2 is equal to 0, right? We draw the line, sketch this. Okay? Then we go second, trace, intersect. I will just say this, may have to repeat process, right? If you need to find it another time, just go ahead and do that, okay? Y-intercept. Y-intercept can be very easy. You just look at your equation. But if you don't remember that, you just go second, trace, value, and in this case, we let x equal to 0, and then press enter, and then we'll find that. So these are the most important ones in order to graph. This is crucial that you have these present if you want to have a decent graph. Make sure you write that down. And I'll give you one more, last but not least. 6. Need more points. If you ever are interested in finding additional points on that graph, okay? If you know the x value and need the y value that goes with it, sorry, we use second, trace, x is equal to, right? And you will put in whatever number, whatever the x value is that you know. So let's say x is equal to 10. It'll give you the y value. Okay, so you use this to figure that out. The other if is this. If you know the y value, and need the x value, if you know the y value and you need the x value, we go y2 is equal to that y value you know, and then you go second, trace, intersect. Chemistry seems pretty intense. You may do that for now, but after a while you should not need this many hints, right, to get you there. So let's do one together using this. So you're going to keep your finger on this, or maybe fold the corner, the top corner of this, so you know where to go when you need a little help. And I'm going to also make a note. Okay, some of you are still copying. Go for it. I'll also make a note at the front cover. I will say, need a reminder on how to sketch, or sketching steps, page 31, right? So that when you look at this booklet like a month or 2 months from now, you know, okay, like I need a refresher on sketching. So on page 31, that's where you find it. So tell yourself at the very front of your booklet that that's where you find it. Okay, I would go there. So I'll do that right now. Sketching steps on page 31. Okay, so there we go. Let's do one together. So for instance, go to page 30. Question 3. Let's try that one. Maybe for now just follow what I'm doing, but make sure you follow, okay? Or if you want to beat me to it, you do whatever you need to do, but I want you to try this, okay? I'm going to come around. That is what, at the end of today, I want you to be very comfortable sketching, okay? So here we go. We have this equation here. We're going to go y equals, clear everything, and I'm going to enter this. Just watch how I enter this. It's very important that you do this right. There's a negative as your leading coefficient, okay? So you got to use this button. Don't use minus because it's going to give you a syntax error. Syntax means the way you typed it in is not good. So negative, and then I use brackets for 7/8. Okay? 7 divided by 8. Like that. That's how I enter that leading coefficient. And then I go x squared plus 27x plus 50. I'm going to try graphing it. Let's see what happens. Sometimes you luck out and the window you already have is perfect. Nothing to change. So don't change, right? So let's go graph on this one. Oh, I see something. You might not. If you did homework, which is good, if you tried this, you probably won't see what I'm seeing right now. So let's assume we're all lost and we don't know where the curve is. We have no idea. Let's look back at what are we expecting. This is A is negative, right? We're expecting this. Let's just stop right there and just know like, hey, that at the very least we know that just by looking at it. Let's go back. I'm going to go zoom standard. Okay, I tell you, zoom standard is like your standard window. Zoom and window are very much related. Zoom changes your window, okay? So let's do a zoom standard. It's not, I see something. This is one of the legs, and it appears that it's going like this, right? It's going to do this. So let's try zoom fit at this point. Zoom fit. Zoom fit is at the very, you got to keep going down. It doesn't show up right away. So zoom fit is right there. Hit enter. Not bad, right? So now chase the curve. Are we all seeing this? We're all seeing this? Yeah? You're not? Okay. I will pause. Chase the. So I have this. After pressing zoom fit, I have this. Now I've got to chase the curve. So what should I be changing here? I'm right here. I want to chase it. I definitely need to change X max, right? I need to change that. I need to increase it. So let's go ahead and do that. Press window. X max. What should it be, Mr. Dirksen? Well, I need to come back down and hit the X axis again. So I'm just going to try 50. Why not 20, Mr. Dirksen? You can, but then you'll find out very soon that if you do two small changes, it takes longer. Okay? If you find that you're overkilling it, pay attention. If you say 500, let's say, whoa, that's overkill, right? You see it coming back down, but what about all of this empty space? That's not necessary. What is this out here right now in terms of x? This is 500. That's the maximum x value that I'm seeing. So this would be about 250. This would be about 100. So you kind of have to just look at your graph and see what works. So this would be 100. I think this is all right. So look up here. My x max is 100. My x min is -10. Now I'm going to change my y min and y max. Hit graph again. Does y min need to be changed? No. Y min doesn't need to be changed. There's nothing down there that I'm interested in. I do want to increase my y max because I'm not seeing the vertex yet. So I go window, y max. That's supposed to be 300. I'm just going to try 300, right? I'm going to see what happens. And that works pretty good. So for now, whenever you have the window thing here, I'm asking you, what's your window? Just tell me what if you press window, just tell me what you used for x min and x max. So it's -10, 100, correct? So I will go -10, 100. And then you go -307.5, 300. So you're basically just reading out your x min, x max, y min, y max. That's all I ask you. Is your window going to be exactly the same as mine? Probably never. Probably never. We're never going to have the same. But this at least gives me an indication that what you were looking at is reasonable. Because if I see your y max being 100, I know for a fact you did not see the vertex. I know for a fact because that much I would know just by looking at your window. But like the rest, I don't really care about all that much. Okay? So let's find the things that we need to find. So I'm going to hit graph again now. I see everything I need to see. Let's do the vertex first. Let's tell ourselves what we're pressing to get that. So I'm going to go second, trace, and min or max. Because it both will give you something. In this case, it's max. So we'll put the coordinates right here. So grab your calculator. You go second, trace, and in this case, it's maximum. And you want a left boundary. So if this is your vertex, you want to select a point to the left of it. So right now, my cursor was down there. I looked at it coming up. Anything to the left, anything. Enter. Then move over to the right. Enter. So now the calculator knows it's somewhere in between those two boundaries. I hit enter again, and there it is. It's 15.43, 258.29. Okay, write that down. That's how we found the vertex. Let's find the x-intercept. How do you find the x-intercept? If you go to the page I just gave you, you let y2 equal to 0, and you're going to go second, trace, intersect. So let's go ahead and do that. You go to y equals. For this one, you have to go to y equals. And you let the second y here be 0. You hit graph. It graphs it. So now you're going to find the intersections twice. So you go second, trace, intersect. Go closer to either one of them. My cursor is missing right now. So there you go. I'm closer to that intersection right there. You hit enter 3 times at this point. Enter, enter, enter. And it's 32.610. Okay? I'm going to be in trouble here, but I'll make it work. 32.610 That's my first one, right? 32.610 is my first x-intercept. Then I do this again. Second trace 5. I move over to the other one. You got to go left or right arrows, right? So I'm moving over to that intersection, enter 3 times. That's negative 1.750. Negative 1.750. Okay. Now let's find the y-intercept. The y-intercept is second trace value x is equal to 0. So go ahead. Second trace value x is equal to 0. I hit enter and it says 50. Do you see the 50 up here? Because this is in general form, that is your y-intercept. If you notice that, you can save yourselves the trouble of having to use your calculator to find the y-intercept. It is 0, 50. Okay? Maybe I'll add something to page 31 after this just to make sure you understand that. This one points down because A is negative, and this one would be a wide curve because it's not quite 1, right? It's 0 point something. 0.875 actually, to be specific. That's the actual value of A, so it's a wider curve. Okay. Now, let's answer these ones here. Can you add equation? Equation of min or max, and it's the equation of the axis of symmetry. In this case, I only have a max. Okay, I only have the equation of the max, and it is y is equal to, what's the, it's the y value of the vertex, 258.29. The equation of the axis of symmetry is x is equal to, it'd be 1543. Let's use highlighters for this one. Okay, the x value of the vertex ended up being the value that I used for my axis of symmetry. The y value of the vertex is what I ended up using for the y value of the equation of the max. Okay? And I'm still waiting with domain and range for now. Okay? I will talk about that when the time is, when we're a bit more comfortable with this. Question 4, I want you to figure out all the pieces that we absolutely need in order to graph this. So I want you to enter this into your calculator, make it show up on your screen, then find me the x-intercepts, y-intercepts, and vertex. You can work with your neighbor if you're not sure right now. See, like, hey, did you get this? Like, try to figure it out. And basically, page 29 and 30, I would like all of this to be figured out by the end of today, okay? With everyone, but I'm just gonna do this one again. I'm just gonna say this, it's very important that you know how to do all of these things for things that are coming down the pipe, right? For word problems, it's very important. The numbers are big, and so if you know this, if you are good with this small scale issue, then you'll be okay with the word problems down the road. So I'm just quickly gonna, another trick, I'm just letting y2 equal to 0. I'm just leaving it. I'm not even clearing it down the road because you're gonna need it anyways, okay? So type in 5x minus 3, and this is x plus 15. And if you did this already, you're just sitting back and relaxing, right? So I'm gonna try the zoom standard. And then I'm gonna try zoom fit. By the way, zoom fit has what next to it? A 0, sorry. It has a 0 next to it, so you can actually just go zoom and then 0, press 0, and it will automatically go to zoom fit. You don't have to like scroll down to it. Now I need to chase the curve. I'm a little weary about the vertex. You kind of see it, but it's too close to the edge. So I'm going to chase the curve. I'm going to go window and change my Y min to negative 500, let's say. Hit graph again. Okay. Then I'm also going to decrease my X min. So I'm going to go window. I'm going to go to X min. I'm already there. I'm going to go negative 30. I'm just going to try things. That is a pretty good graph. You've got everything you need right there. Is this going to be pointing up or down? We knew it was going to point up because A is positive, right? A is positive, and it's a narrow because A is greater than 1. So we know those two things just by looking at it. The x-intercepts, second trace 5. I'm going to find this one. It's negative 15, 0. Second trace 5. You scroll over to the other side. And once you're close enough, that's good enough. Enter, enter, enter. You just want to be far enough away from the other one. Otherwise, it's going to go to that one. That's 3, 0, positive, which is right there. Makes sense. I used y2 is equal to 0. Second trace intersect. Okay. Y-intercept. I can't just read it off of this because it's not in general form. So I'm going to use second trace value, like the very first option. I let x equal to 0. I hit enter. It's negative 225. I went second. That's when I'm going to ask you over and over again to give me the keystrokes. Okay, value, x is equal to 0. That's what I use there. The vertex, it's a minimum, right? It's a minimum because it's point, like this is the curve, and the vertex is the lowest point. So you have to select minimum. If you select maximum, it's going to try, but it's going to give you the wrong answer. You go to the left of the boundary, enter. You go to the right of the boundary, enter. And then enter one more time when it says guess. And so you get negative 6, negative 405. And I went second, trace, minimum. Okay, there we go. What's the equation of the min? In this case, it's the equation of the minimum. Y is equal to negative 405. It's dictated by the vertex. The equation of the axis of symmetry is x is equal to negative 6. Okay. Domain and range, we're going to talk about that possibly tomorrow. But that's it for this task right now. That is it. Okay. I'm going to give you the AC right though. This is going to be your homework. You start on page 29. Okay. And I want you to figure out all the information that is asking for on page 29 and 30. So the x-intercept, the y-intercept, the vertex, all of that stuff. But on top of that, I want you to start graphing this. Okay? I'll show you on page 30 real quick because we already done the work how to graph one of them. So let's go to page 30, question 3. Once you have these, the intercepts and the vertex, you need to come up with a scale. Okay? Where's my vertex at? It's at 15,258. That's a really tall order, right? So what you're going to need to do is this. I'm going to try a scale of 5 along the x-axis. 5, 10, 15, 20. And you may have to try this out. And I'm going to go to the negatives here. Negative 5, negative 10, negative 15. It's crucial that whatever scale you choose stays consistent. So if you're going up by 5, I need to see that you're going up by 5 throughout the thing. You can't just switch it when it doesn't work. So if you decide, oh, wait a minute, it's not going to work for me, I need to go up by 10, then everything should be going up by 10. Okay? Next, my y-axis. I notice that my vertex is way up in the 258 region. So think about it. 15, 258, like that's way, like I need to make sure the scale is appropriate. So I'm going to go up by 50, 50, 100, 150, 200, 250, 300. Let's plot our vertex. 1543, 258. It's somewhere in here. Close enough is good enough. That's how we treat these ones. So the vertex is right here. 1543, 258, 29. Okay, then my x-intercepts. Or y-intercept. Y-intercept is 050. Plot that down, make a big dot right there. The x-intercepts. One is at 3261, 0. So you got to go 32. Oh, it's not going to work, Mr. Dirksen. 25. This is 30. It's barely going to work. We're going to make it work. That's where it is approximately. 3261 is right there. And where is the other one? Did I not write it down? What was the other one? Can somebody help me out? What was the other x-intercept that we, what is it? Negative 1.75? Oh, I wrote it down under the vertex. That's what, my bad. It's supposed to go up here. Negative 1.750. So it's right here, somewhere there. Okay, so your intercepts, the y-intercept and the two x-intercepts are there. That helped me decide what my scale is. And there's my vertex. Okay, so this is how you sketch it. You ready? You go to your vertex and you slowly curve out, and you want to go through those 2 points, and it should stay out, like it needs to keep opening up, right? So that's that. That's one of the legs. You come back to your vertex and you do the same thing. Make it look symmetrical. And there it is. I forgot this part. Watch this. This is supposed to be what? Negative 50. Just have a couple that tell me you're using a consistent scale. And one more thing is missing. Do you remember something about graphs in intro? What does a graph need to have? The equation, a title. It could be a title, but as long as you label your x and y axis and you have the equation, you're good to go. So this would be y is equal to negative 7/8 x squared plus 27x plus 50. Okay. That is a graph. So 29 and 30 is going to be on you to do by tomorrow. Okay. Are you going to struggle with the scale sometimes? Yes. You're going to have to erase. That's why they make erasers. Okay. But make sure you try that.